the night is quiet and shadows fall, I'll be beside you whenever you call. When worries weigh heavy and fears take flight, I'll be your strength, guiding through the night. And when the days are dark and heavy on your heart, I'll be the voice to guide you through the dim. Strong walls may crumble, but within you've got the spark. Just turn the key, let light dissolve the grim. Did you think you were alone in your feelings? Strike a match, let your inner strength be seen. Welcome to All Things Serious. In the depths of your despair, where demons roam, I'll be the hand to hold. You're never alone. When storms rage fierce and winds blow strong, I'll be the shelter in your soul where you belong. Welcome to All Things Serious.
What's going on, everybody? I hope you're having a good day. Emilio, I'm dropping the link for you right now so you can come up on panel. I hope everybody's having an amazing day. And thank you, Miranda Lee, for the comment, for the intro. So the guest I'm having up on panel is actually Emilio Cruz. I'm just waiting for him to get up here. George, that's awesome to hear. Silence. How you doing, Silence? Long time no see. So let's go through and say hey to everybody. You got BB Beyond Amazing. How you doing, Ann? Mama Bear Kel. Ginger. Miranda Lee. Rody Gal. Who else we got coming in here? We got Silence. We got George. I hope you're doing you're having an amazing day, and he's very happy. That's awesome to hear. Emily, good seeing you. How you been doing, Silence? I haven't seen you around in a while. I hope you're doing well. I hope everybody's doing well. Blondie, how you doing? Michelle Johnson, how are you doing? I'm doing well. I decided to make YouTube full time, so I'll be doing lives 7 days a week. That's amazing. Sometimes you need to take time for yourself. That's always amazing. That's awesome, Silence. You got the help you needed. Midwest, hello. I just hope everybody's doing amazing tonight. That's awesome, Silence. Well, Miranda, so I have, what day is it? The second, Thursday, May 2nd. I might have to have surgery on my left ankle. I'll find out Thursday, May 2nd, what's happening. Click the link that I just posted, Emilio, where it says StreamYard. Click on that link. Name is Dragonfly. Good seeing you. I hope you're doing well. I hope everything's going good. So I'm preparing now, so I might as well just stick with doing YouTube Live, YouTube permanently every day, because if I have to have surgery, I'm going to be down anyway. So YouTube will keep me active. I don't know why I got the headset on right now. Hopefully the link works for Emilio. Hopefully the link works. If let me see if I can do this. All right, Google Voice. Google Voice. All right, so okay. Okay. Do you want to leave your camera on, Emilio? Okay. Let me get my headset on. Welcome, Emilio.
Hello, how are you?
I'm doing all right, sir. How you doing?
All right, all right. Thank you. Thank you very much.
You personally now. So they'll be able to know who Emilio Cruz is.
Very good, very good. Thank you.
And I love your humor in chat. I love your humor in chat, especially the late night.
Absolutely.
Yes, yes. So what drove you to my channel?
Well, I went to, yes, I was participating in another program, and I met you there. And when you announced your program, I said, let me check, because I was working during the
Yes.
overnight, and I decided to join and hear what you had to offer, and it was a great opportunity. Yeah, and basically, I like all the guests. I like your content, and the way that you has been basically doing the programming. It was something that I like, and I decided to continue to be part of your content.
Yeah, because mental health is very important. And showing people support and that you care for them, that means a lot to them. And I tell people, you're never alone.
Absolutely.
There's always somebody out there, even if it's right, even if they're not right next to you, there's somebody out there that you can reach out to. So, what would you like to discuss, Mr. Cruz?
Yeah, it is important that I want to mention that it's important to have content during those times that people are sleeping, because during those times there are people that are in need, there are people that are in depression and some other circumstances that have a voice, and they can um, vent about what is going on, or receive some advice. That's why those programs during those hours are important, and it's something that is great. I would like to talk to you about to tell you a little bit about myself, and
You're
how
more than welcome.
I ended up where I am. Can you hear me well?
Yes, I can hear you very well, Emilio.
Okay, perfect. I was born in Puerto Rico. My town is in the northeast section of the island. It's the poorest town in the island of Puerto Rico. Is the name is Loiza, Loiz as a zebra A, and it's a town that most of the people that live there are people of color, the people of black people. And it was at some point a reservation for Indians and Africans. All the Africans that were brought from by the Spanish government to the island, they were sent to my town to sleep during the night, and then they will be distributed all over the island to work. That's why most of the people in my town are people of color. Um, that my town, right, when I left, it was about 35,000 people, the population. It's very segregated town in the island. It was marginalized, basically the poorest town in the island, and we suffer all type of discrimination in terms of political, also economic. My town was reduced to a very small, being one of the largest, was made very small. But when I was growing up, my father left when I was 2 years old, and my mother basically went following him. And he came here to Boston, and then she decided to basically take my brother, which was 1 year old, with her, and came to Boston after him. I don't recall seeing my mother when I was a child until maybe I was probably about 9 or 10 years old. I was raised by my grandmother. She passed away probably about 15 years ago. That woman was an amazing person. She did the best she could to help me out. She was married to this guy that was like my father. He looks exactly like me, and he basically treated me as his own son. Um, in, in those years when I was young, he wanted to do everything he could for me, buy anything he could, clothing, everything. I go to school and said to the teachers, "This is my son. If anything that you need help, assist him." Well, I remember one day, he was very old already. He was the provider. One day around 3 o'clock in the afternoon, my grandmother went to give him food. He couldn't eat anything; it was liquid. And that day, he told her to get closer to his. He wanted to say something, to whisper something. He kept looking at me while he was telling something to my grandmother. She never revealed what it was, but I know exactly what it was. And he said, I know what he said is, "Take care of my son, take care of him." And he passed away. I saw him when he died. I From that moment on, we start facing poverty, real poverty. He was the provider. There was no enough food or anything for my grandmother and I. She was getting some food stamp during those times, but during those years, it's not the same economic times that like now. It was like $92 per month for two people, and with that, she did whatever she could. Buying food, buying and clothing, and all that. She did something that was great for me, that was raising me with learning. When I went to kindergarten, I already knew to read a little bit, and I knew a lot of stuff because she every day she used to sit me before Sesame Street and have me listen to them and learn. When when I went to school, I was the tallest kid, but I was the youngest one. I went almost 4 years and something, because I was between the timeline of the 5 years old
Yep.
during that position. And I was the tallest one, but I was the smallest one. And I was a big kid, you know. And when I went to school, I was subject of abuse, of mistreatment. They were telling me that I guess that I was the darkest, one of the darkest kid in the class. Everybody was black, but I probably darker than anybody else. And they start calling me names and putting me all kind of types of stereotypes.
Yep.
Then my hair was awful. I used to have an afro. There is no science anymore that was I used to have an afro, and I remember that it was so bad, the hair, that when I was combing the hair, I had to go really stern to comb the hair because it was really bad, and I was chubby in top of that. Well, kids start making fun of me, like saying that number one, that I was too heavy, that I was too big, and putting me names of characters in cartoons, that calling me names because I was too black, calling me names because my hair, you know, I became so
Insecure.
insecure about that I basically stopped eating. I didn't want to eat. Nobody could force me to eat, and I was surviving in liquids and things like that. And my grandmother tried the best she could to keep me to get me to eat, and I did. That ended up sending me to the hospital with a big anemia, that I almost died, because of that. And I still suffering of anemia. I still now, even when I look very healthy, I still have anemia issues since that time. Then I want to change my hair, and I start putting stuff in my hair, like a lot of greasy stuff. You can see the grease coming down every day because I was trying to change my hair to make it look a little better. Also, in terms of, I always was insecure about my color. I thought I was defective, and try to change it by putting powders and things to make myself a little lighter. That followed me for a while, for a long time, that situation. My grandmother also told me, Emilio, you go to school, you don't go to fight with anybody, you don't going to have a problem. If you have a problem, you go to the teacher, let them know, but don't fight anybody. Well, that was a great advice, but basically leave me defenseless. Everybody will beat me up every single day. Smaller kids than me, girls, boys, everybody hit me. And I was abused every single day. To the point that I get, yeah, to the
That's
point that
tough.
yeah, to the point that I got used to that. Every time I wasn't being beat up, I was looking for it. I would say, oh my God, no, I didn't get beat up today. What is wrong? Is there a problem? No, nobody like me anymore. Well, to the point that my grandmother had to change her way of view, because she was this Christian lady that never thought about violence, and she thought everybody was raised the same way. And basically told me, she started saying to me, Emilio, from this point on, I'm going to change everything. And I'm sorry that I did this damage to you, because now you cannot defend yourself. From this point on, every time somebody hit you, you're going to hit back. You're going to hit back. You need to defend yourself. And if you don't do it, you're going to have a problem with me. And she had to reprogram me back to reality. And I started to be a little, I never backed down. I had no emotions shown to anybody. I was like this type of kid that I laugh, but I laugh for myself. I wouldn't laugh to people. I wouldn't cry in front of people. If I had to cry, I would go to a room and cry in there, but never do it in front of people, because I never had any type of emotions. I started basically being a little showing emotion when I was 19 or 20. Before that, there was no emotion shown to anybody. That made me look a little older. People used to see me like 5 years older of what I was because I was always serious. It was business type. I went right to business all the time. When I remember at about age 9 or 10, there was an experience that marked my life for all my adolescent time. It was that there was a neighbor that came from another town, that they were predominantly white people in the town. They moved to my town. That was the only family I remember to be white in my town. And then there was another family that were from my town, that they were the only native white people in my town that I recall during those times. But other than that, everybody was black. And I became very friendly with that one of the girls of the house, and we used to. She used to come into my house, pass by my house. She was living like 5 houses away, and stop right there in my house. And I would carry her bag, and that bag I think had the whole entire family on it because it was so heavy. Heavy. I don't know what she had in that backpack. And I used to carry that back to the school every single day. And we became the best friends, inseparable. We were everywhere, we were together. And I was involved in every single club because the way for me to compensate for all the deficiencies I had was to get involved in everything. And I was in the library club. I was in the 4-H club. I was in the school safety patrol. I was in everything. And I was part of the drama club. And she and we used to do a lot of performances, participating in dramas and all that stuff in the school. And one day, close to Christmas, we were rehearsing for the Nativity, and I was going to be Joseph, and she was going to be Mary. And she told me, Emilio, I want you to go to my house in order that you meet my mom and my family, and you can basically we can rehearse there. I went to the house all happy because I was like a little bit in love with the girl, you know. I didn't know what in love was, but I was in love with her. And I would show up in there. I show up in there, and there is this lady, beautiful lady, green eyes, white, beautiful blonde hair. She was one arm missing, but that was not a impediment for her. She used to do murals, paintings. Oh, she was a very, very talented. Yeah, talented.
Artistic.
Yes, exactly. And when I show up in there, she looked at me from top to bottom and said to me, "Who are you and what do you want?" I said, "My name is Emilio. I came here to see so and so, your daughter. We're gonna rehearse for the play that we're gonna do." And she looked at me and turned her. That was the last time she looked at me, turned around and said, "No, you are not. You are not going to do anything else." And she called her, and she came in. I said, "Oh, Emilio, you are here, blah, blah, blah." All happy. And she said, hey, who's this kid? Who's this black kid? And I said,
Wow.
she said, "This is my friend Emilio. We are very good friends. We are rehearsing for a play." All happy. She said, "No, you are not participating in a play with this kid." And she said, "Don't you know that black kids are rapists, are this and that?" And I, in my mind, thinking, what rapist is? What is that? What is she talking about? You know? And I am like in a surprise and smiling, like saying, "Is this true? Is this belief? If is it real?" And remember, we are in a town that everybody is black, but I think I was darker than everybody. That's the only thing I can think. And I am thinking, what is going on? And she's crying, "Oh, he's my friend. We are always together, blah, blah, blah." And she said, "No, she's not your friend anymore. I want you to tell him to go and and basically she told me not to come, and I wasn't welcome anymore. I left brokenhearted, but I thought I'm gonna see her next day in the school, and everything is gonna continue. We're gonna continue to be friends in the school. Well, never show up to my doorstep. Went through another street, and I said, "Well, I'm gonna see her in the library." That was the common meeting place. I went to the library, looked through it, couldn't find her. I went to the class, didn't find it there either. She was transferred to a lower class in order that she don't be in the same room that I was. And finally, I found her at school, and I said, "Hey, how you doing? You know what? Don't worry about what your mom said. We can continue to be friends, and she don't have to do it. She don't have to know anything. Blah blah blah." And she said, "No, I cannot be your friend. Black people," repeated the same thing she said. "Black people are rapists. Blah 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 blah." And I didn't know what that word meant, and I wanted to find out, but I didn't want to ask my grandmother because I was ashamed because I didn't know what it meant. And I basically play a game with my friends in school, and I said, "Well, what did this word mean?" Because I know the meaning, but I want to know if you know it. I needed to know. I wanted to find out from others, and the kids start telling me what it meant, and I said, "Oh my God, what a shock!" Well, from the entire school system, there was only one high school, middle school and high school in my town. We were in the same school, and we couldn't be in the same place together any longer.
That
Um,
sucks.
yeah, absolutely. She became my worst enemy. Never. The mother was, I don't know what I did to that woman. She would pay people to beat me up every day. There were gang of kids beating me up every day. I still to this day don't know what I did to that woman. What was the problem? My family never had a problem with them. I asked and checked. There was no problems with them with this family previously. Well, entire school system. The last time that really backed me up because I remember I already have these inequities in my mind, and now I had this one added. And I remember in every class we never were in any other class again. We went in honor classes, and she went to a lower class just not to be in the same room I was.
Wow.
Yeah. Um, Graduation came, and we were supposed to march together, and she refused. She went to the end on the line, and I saw it one time after that, one more time after that, and that was the last time. We were in a Christian service. I was part of the church. She went to the church, converted to Christianity, and just because I was part of the group, she refused to continue. She backed down of the church, never went back because I was part of the church. I've never seen it again. I always wondering what happened. Well, actually, I know what happened. Years later, and this is going back to this situation. Uh, Years later, I went. That was maybe 1993, 94. I went to Puerto Rico. I was already here. I went to Puerto Rico, and when I was there, her mother called me up, and I said, "Oh my God, this woman is going to do it again." I She called me up to the house. I decided to go. I was scared to go there, but I went. She was dying of cancer, and she said to me, "Emilio, I'm calling you because I did a big, big mistake to you. I ruined your life. What I did was uncalled for. I got three grandkids, and those are my life. And you know what? My daughter, her two daughters, the one in issue, and the other one married black guys, even darker than me. And her grandkids are very black. And she said, those are my life, those kids. Every time I see my grandkids, I remember of you. I wanted to apologize. I wanted to say I'm sorry for doing what I did to you. I forgive her in there. And at that point, 3 months after she died, she did a good
Wow.
thing, which was apologizing. You know, that really helped me out about that. But going back, my mother went back to Puerto Rico when I was about 9 or 10 years old. She never really liked me for some reason. She thought that I wasn't her son. My brother was her only son, in her words. He is my only son, my the one. I'm the oldest one. I remember I don't have a father. My grandfather died. I don't have a father now. My grandmother was father and mother. Now she come back to my life, and she's saying that I'm not her son. I started thinking, well, maybe I was adopted, because I my views were different. They were not political. I always liked politics. I was the only one go to school. They didn't go to school. Basically, I was the only one to finish the school. It was a complete different set of things, and I started thinking, well, maybe I was adopted. Well, now that we talk and everything, she says that I don't think I have any doubts anymore that I belong to the family. But she says that during when I was born, there was a mix up of kids, and some families took a wrong kid, and other family took another kids, and supposedly I was in the mix of that, and finally somebody went and returned me to the hospital, and ended up that I was her kid. It was like a mix up, something like that, she said. But she always used to tell me that I wasn't her son. I had one son, which is my brother. In according to her, she was only one son, and basically, I was mistreated. And from that point on, she married this guy that was very, very bad. He's the father of my youngest brother. Very bad. That guy never liked me. Never. Well, it was bad. And at the end, if we saw him doing something wrong and we tell her, she would beat me. She will beat me, and then ended up my brother getting the same thing. When my youngest brother was born, now my brother started feeling the same thing I felt, because now she started saying that the only son she had is the youngest one. She became a schizophrenic. Um, the guy was, but the court told him to leave the house because he was a nightmare to my grandmother, creating problems and everything. And the judge told him, you need to leave. You cannot stay with this family any longer. And my mother became, because he started giving her some drinks that turned her crazy. She lost the mind and became a schizophrenic.
That's
And
tough.
yeah, and the schizophrenia went after me, because I had to go to school, go back home, hide with a locked door, because she was in front of my door screaming, "I gonna kill you! I gonna kill you with a scissors or a knife in my door! I going to kill you!" And that went for years of that. And I had to go hide, and then go at night, go to church, and go back, close the door, and like myself in there. My grandmother was like scared of her too. And my grandmother was this kind woman that never saw anything bad on people. And she used to say, she's sick. You need to understand that she's sick. And I told her, when I am 18, I'm leaving. And if you want to go with me, I take you with me to the US. But if not, you are going to be on your own, because I'm leaving as soon as I am, because this one is going to kill me. And she continued with that for years. Well, after that, I went to, I graduated. I flew over here, and I had family from my father's side. And I came to the airport, and nobody picked me up. I was 3 days in the carousel, sleeping in the carousel. When they allow people to sleep there, I slept 3 days in the carousel of the airport, waiting for someone. I called the town. I called the mayor of my town. I let him know what was going on. He found somebody that got me to my family. Prior to that, I never thought I needed a father. I thought I had everything. I was all set. I don't need a father. My grandmother is enough for me. But when I was like 15 years old, around there, I started getting that need of knowing him, of getting a father. I didn't know how to shave. I didn't know anything because basically I didn't have any father figure in there. And I started thinking about him. Well, one night I had this dream that my grandmother said, Emilio, I'm going to give you bad news. Your father got involved in a fire, and he's very ill in the hospital. You need to go see him. And I told my grandmother, and she said, oh, maybe you're thinking about him. I never dream about him. And that day I did. Well, 3 days after, my grandmother came to give me the news. Emilio, your father got involved in a fire and he's dying. I went like crazy looking for money to get, I was 16. And that was my first trip here to Massachusetts. I found the money. The mayor of the town helped me, the church, everybody. And I flew over here. I couldn't, my family, maybe I located family members. They went and look at, get me in at the airport, and they didn't want to bring me to the hospital to see him that easy. I spent like a week waiting and trying to get information and what hospital my brother. I had a brother. I lost my youngest brother from his side. I had a sister. He lost his wife, and he was in the hospital. And I have another brother in the hospital that he was in the burn unit of Children's Hospital, but I didn't know his name. I went all crazy looking for him all over Boston. I couldn't find him. I didn't have a name. I went by last name because nobody told me where he was, his name or anything. As a matter of fact, that kid hated every member of the family, including myself, because he thought he was abandoned. And he is now a millionaire. He got about $2 million after that. But he don't want anything to do with any of us. Well, finally, they brought me to my father, and they were thinking I was going to retaliate because he was being sought for child support. He always he never sent him a penny, anything. And they thought I was going to go there and say, "Hey, to the people chasing him. He's here. I have him. Come get him." And they sent me in that room with my uncle. And I went there, and I'm looking at him. This guy, all swelling, with one arm standing up, all burned out. And when my uncle said to him, Emilio, his name is Emilio. Emilio, do you know who this kid is? And one tear came down, and he said, he did this because he couldn't talk. He did, like, it's my son. One tear came down. I talked to him. I said, I forgive you for everything. The only thing I want from you is when you get out of here is to remember me, to send me a letter, to remember that I'm a son, and now you have another, my brother in there is your son too. Please. Well, he got better. In 3 days, he can move hands and everything. I think the impression of seeing me making an impact on him, and he made all type of promises that from that point on, I'm gonna be sending letters and everything. I said, I don't care about any money. I care about you being in my life. Send me letters, communicate. Made the promises.
Having a connection.
Yeah, exactly. He made those promises, broke it right there. What he did is he went, took all the money that he got a lot of money, and put it on his sister-in-law's name in order to avoid child support, and disappear, gone again. Nobody could find him. Broken promises. I never heard from him anymore until I was probably 21. It's that when I see him again. He ended up basically with nothing because the sister-in-law started spending money and everything. And one day I needed an attorney for something else that I was looking for. And somebody recommended me an attorney in another town, the town of Salem, Massachusetts, which is it was far from me. And I went there to meet this attorney, and he said, "Emilio, I think I know you." And I said, "No, this is the first time, but you, your name is Emilio Cruz." I said, "Yes, Emilio Cruz." And he said, "Emilio, you have is your father's name Emilio Cruz?" I said, "Yes." "Oh my God, you are the son of my client. He is the one that told me what happened, that they got millions of dollars, and that the family was spending the money that was supposed to go for my brother, and he had to go to California and put a stop in court to to that disbursement of the money." And that's how I find out where my family was. You know, well, years passed. After that, I still continue with this thing about my blackness and the hair and all that. And now I am 18. My family from my father's side didn't want me either, because they thought I was too smart. In their opinion, I was too smart. I went to school, finished school and everything. This kid is gonna find my father, and he's gonna basically sue him, and he's gonna have to pay the child support. They were not too happy with me. They didn't trust me. And then they keep saying, "You are like your father and your mother. You are not to be trusted." Blah 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 blah. Okay, I have basically to survive by myself here, and I decided to find an apartment because I couldn't hold it anymore. I find
Yep.
some friends and I move out. Okay, I started go to college. The first thing I did is enroll in college to learn English.
Good.
I went to Roxbury Community College, and I started studying English. While I was there, I had to move, and I moved with this house that had like 20 people living on it. It was a two-bedroom apartment. People are sleeping in the floor everywhere, and most of them were undocumented. People from Guatemala, Mexico. I that's how I learned to cook things over there, because my work was cooking for everybody, because I didn't have a job, and the way for me to pay was cooking and cleaning. And it was very nice. The people, they treat me, so I was the only Puerto Rican living in there, in that group. But one day I came back to the apartment, and it was clean out. There was only my stuff were there. I said, "What happened here?" The neighbor upstairs came down and say, "Emilio, immigration came, took many of them, and the other one escaped. They leave." And I said, "Oh my God, I feel bad for them, but also, what I gonna do now without a place to live? Technically, I cannot pay this rent. It was like $2,000 a month or something. I cannot pay this rent. I don't have a job. How I going to survive here?" I left the school with those worries, thinking, "Oh my God, what I gonna do?" There was this kid in the school that was everybody considered to be crazy, because he was a very talented kid, but he was like crazy. Everybody, he used to go to the school just to be there. He wasn't a student or anything. And in the rain, you could look. I was in the classes, and I started looking to the window, and he was in the rain doing yoga, and going like this in the middle of the rain and all wet and everything. And everybody considered him a crazy guy. And he started looking at me and said, "Emilio, what is going on? What is wrong with you?" And I said, "No, I'm okay. Emilio, something is happening. Something is bothering you." I said, "No, it's okay." I didn't want to talk about anything. And finally, I said, "You know what? Let me tell you, I'm homeless. I don't have a place to live now. My friends were taken by INS. I don't know what I'm going to do now." He said, "Emilio, that's not a problem. Don't worry about it." I said, "What do you mean that there is no problem? You're going to go with me where I live." And we went he borrowed a car. We went and took my things and moved to where he was. And it was a house. I was a house of two levels, and I was in the attic. He had one side, I had the other side. And that's how I started really to learn English because I went to school, but I didn't learn anything. In my opinion, I couldn't. I understood everything, but I couldn't speak. And in that house, there was a roommate. There was the doctor who was a psychiatrist from Beth Israel that was living there. He's the owner. My friend and I, and nobody spoke Spanish. I had to learn English by force, and that's how I learned English because I was 3 years in there. I was the one I contribute because I was doing work study. I contribute economically to the house, but I was in charge of cleaning the house, painting, all the chores in the
Yep.
house. And the guy became so happy with me, the owner. He became so happy with me that at one point he was going to throw out my friend, the one that brought me there, because he wasn't doing his the things that he was supposed to do. And I begged him, please don't do it because if you do, if he goes, I have to go. He's the one that brought me here. I cannot stay. And because of me, he kept them there. I stood there for 3 years, and that's how. And the last day, they all spoke to me Spanish. They all knew Spanish. They never told me that they knew Spanish. Yeah, and that's how I learned English.
That's
I,
awesome.
yeah, I started working and everything. I went back to Puerto. I started. My first job was in a factory of medical instruments here in the town of Waltham, Massachusetts.
Yeah.
I was looking for a job. I couldn't find a job nowhere. And remember, my that was before I learned the English. My English was broken up. I couldn't barely speak. And that day, I prayed before I go, and I said, "Today I'm gonna come back this house without a job. I won't come back." And I was this. I decided, and I saw that place, and I decided to go in there. I remember that woman. I still got the picture of that lady when I went there, and I said, "God help me that I speak a good English today." And amazingly, was the best way I spoke, the best English I had. I sit down in there. The woman start talking to me, and she said, "What experience you have measuring instruments and things like that?" I said, "None." What have you worked before? No. And everything was against me in there. And she said, what do you think? Why do you think I should give you the job? Because I want to learn, and I am a quick learner, and I'm going to learn the job. And she said, Emilio, I like your attitude. I'm going to give you a call at 2 o'clock. Wait for my call, and I'm going to let you, because we have a guy that went to engineering school, and I don't know how you're going to compete with him. What do you have to say about that? Yeah, he knows. He knows the practical thing. I know by theory, theoretically, but I can learn. And I'm telling you, you give me the job, I'm gonna be the best employee here. Well, 2 o'clock, the phone ring, and she said, Emilio, we have decided to hire both of you. You are coming, and he's coming too, both of you. And they hired me. I started working there, and I started getting privileges in there because everything they asked me to do and beyond, I do. I never had a downtime. If I finished everything before the time, things that were scheduled to finish in 2 hours, I do it in half hour. And they were so happy because then I started cleaning and doing every time they came in, they saw me involved. And they start giving me privilege. And at one point, the company went down economically and they had to take money away from everybody and cut the salaries of everybody, and including myself. And everybody start basically doing the bare minimum. I continue doing as much as I could. The vice president, or the basically the son of the owner, came in and said to me, Emilio, you are the only one that is not protesting, that is not fighting. I'm gonna give you the money that we took you from the salary, and we're gonna give you 10% extra. And I was the only one to get that benefit because they saw I wasn't the only one protesting. I was doing everything, and the jobs that other people didn't want to do, I did. and they appreciate that. When I left over there, because I decided to go back to Puerto Rico, they were asking, they were offering me all kind. I became a supervisor. They were offering me all kind of stuff for me to stay. I went to Puerto Rico, and once I back, and that's the time this lady called me up and tell me that I'm sorry and everything. I started becoming, because I always was involved in everything, and I'm not afraid to go and knock anybody's door. And I don't know how it happened. I ended up with a job in the Capitol as part of the Puerto Rican Senate. I became the assistant to the vice president of the Puerto Rican Senate. I still don't know how that happened. I don't remember how I ended up getting in there. And I worked there, and I was traveling all the island, scheduling things for the vice president of the Puerto Rican Senate and all that. And my boss was so grateful. She didn't want to leave. The town of the mayor of my town, I'm sorry, offered me a job as an assistant to his office. And because of the distance of going from my town to San Juan and all that, I took the job. And I started working there. And the last year of his term, he became very ill, and I became the acting mayor of the town. Uh,
Wow.
yeah. And then after the term ended, I decided to come back here, and I came back to New Bedford. And I started working there with the community, and I start getting involved and organizing different non-for-profits organization and all that. And I remember that between all the things, I became very basically, I became the leader of the Hispanic community in New Bedford. Everybody will be looking for me for anything they needed. I had a big following. Politicians start looking for me because I start getting the reputation that I can influence people. Well, I work in a campaign for a political candidate for mayor. The guy used to come into my house all the time looking for me, and I was out working the campaign, and the guy won the election, and I got a job, as the director of cultural affairs, and I started very seriously doing my job and everything. I thought I was going to be a catalyst for change and everything. Hispanic and black people started going to City Hall, which never they had seen so many people of color in that building. And I became very, very popular. But that brought some problems because now my popularity was so big that I was threatening the establishment. And at one point, I remember going to the mayor about something, and he says, Emilio, you don't have to work that hard. Tell the people that you're doing this and that. Actually, you don't have to do it. Tell them that I'm doing it. And sit down, get your money, get paid, because you were basically what I wanted you is to sit in there, earn your $50,000. I think it was 50 or $60,000. Sit, get your money, and basically because we wanted a Hispanic and black face here. I was so disappointed because I thought I was hired because of my talent, my abilities, and not because I want to be a portrait for minorities. I became so mad about that I started saying, you know what, I have to find a way to leave this job. Well, things start getting even nastier because now different people came into the office, and they start barricading me from the mayor because I had a lot of influence in the mayors. I started basically not allowing me to talk to him and all that. Well, at some point, basically, I resigned. I decided to go. And when I leave, um, I consulted with a group of leaders in my town that I trusted, and I decided to leave. And they all backed me out. But then they let me alone. Basically, they did. I was by myself. They went after my job. After they advised me and helping me about that, basically they went after trying to get my job, you know. And I said in my mind, oh my God, I sacrificed for these people. I couldn't be earning this money. Well, I couldn't find a job for 6 months because one thing with politicians is you cannot resign. You can be fired by them, you can be thrown out, but if you resign, you become their enemies because basically you are telling them that you are not that important for them. And I was blacklisted technically. No job, nobody will open the door for me. I was 6 months trying to, with 3 kids, trying to survive with no other recourse. What I did is I went to unemployment, trying to get unemployment, expressing the situation, and I got this letter from unemployment saying no, you are not eligible for benefits because you left the job and there is no justified reason, and everything. But the day of the hearing, when I went there, I saw the city's attorney talking to the examiner. I knew I lost. I knew I lost because they are already talking. It's illegal for them to do that, but they were talking already. um, I got the letter. I get so fed up with every time I saw the letter that I frame it and put it right in front of my on my bed, next to my bed. Every morning I have to see it, and I kept talking to the letter. I say, one day I'm gonna throw you in the garbage. I gonna destroy you. Talking to the letter, saying, how dare you? I never asked for anything. I work for everything I have, and now you are telling me I cannot get benefits. I cannot get my unemployment that I work for and everything. I get mad. That pushed me to go to university, and I was able to get good jobs without getting only with a high school education. But now I realize it is important for me to get an education. I went and enrolled in the University of Massachusetts, Dartmouth, and I got a bachelor's in 2 years. I got a bachelor's degree in humanities and social sciences. While I was working at night in Walmart, cleaning the floors, buffing the floors, and trying to leave before 7 o'clock in order that I don't see that nobody from the city will see me, and I couldn't escape. One day somebody saw me and said, "Oh, Emilio, oh my God, you went from the throne to hell in a minute. My God, cleaning floors when you had a very nice office and you got a staff and everything, and look what you're doing." And I remember tears coming down. And I said, you know what? It's better for me to be here cleaning the floors and clean the floors for you than be in that hell I was captive before, and that pushed me to go to the university. I graduated. I applied for a job with the state. Immediately, I got the job. I became an investigator for abuse and neglect for disabled people, and I worked there for 3 years. Right when I finished the bachelor's degree, I went back to the university and to Cambridge College and earned a master's in education. I applied to another job as a probation officer, hired. Immediately I applied, I was hired. I served there for 10 years in probation. Then I went back to the university, got another master's in public administration for Suffolk University, and applied to become a member of the Sex Offender Registry Board, one of the 7 board members, and the governor appointed me. I went there, served for 7 years, went back to the university and earned another master's in Suffolk University in criminal justice. From there, I still continue doing and doing and doing. I cannot stop helping the people in need, the people that are especially children. I remember being in when I started in the family court in probation, helping this woman to get the child support for the children. And I remember being very stern to get child support for kids. And I managed to get kids those important needs. Then I became a probation officer at district court, and then I went to superior court, which is the hardest court to work with because you are dealing with criminals, with the worst criminals. But I was successful in everything. And so to this day, every single day, I have been going up and up and up. My three children, they went all to college. They all got a bachelor's degree. One of them got a master's degree and is working for the university he went, he studied. He is the head of security at that university in Pennsylvania. I can tell you, it was the best decision. All those troubles I went through pushed me to to be better, pushed me to get that education that without it I wouldn't be able to be where I am now, and that's where I am.
That's awesome. Hearing your story and your struggles, you didn't let the struggles define you.
Nope.
You took the struggles and you turned it into a strength. You took a weakness and you turned it into a strength.
Absolutely.
That's amazing.
Yeah. And right now, I don't care what anybody has to say. I will accept any constructive criticism, but I don't care when people said something nasty about me. I don't care anymore.
You can't let words destroy you.
Exactly, exactly, exactly. I suffered of depression for a long, long time, and I said, you know what? No more, no more, no more.
Thank you for coming up, Emilio.
A pleasure.
You had an amazing story. Every
Thank you.
question I had in my mind to ask you, you answered it before I could ask it.
Thank you.
That's an impressive story, and you still got more to offer.
Thank you very much.
One day, I'd like to meet up with you in person. One day.
Absolutely.
I live
Absolutely.
in New Hampshire, so I'm not that far.
Not that far. Absolutely.
Yes. So,
Yeah.
I'm glad you're part of this community. Thank you for the support. And I will see you in a little bit at Brittany's channel.
Absolutely. Thank you very much. A
Thank you for
pleasure.
yes.
Keep
Thank you
doing
for
what you're
coming up.
doing.
I
It's
will.
sincere.
I will keep doing what I'm doing, Emilio.
Thank you.
And you keep
Bye
doing
bye.
what you're doing, brother.
I appreciate it.
God bless.
Bye bye.
Bye-bye. Thank you, everybody, for being here. That was an amazing story. So, yes, Dose of Rose, his father's name was also Emilio. So, for those of you are ever interested in sharing your story of what you've gone through and help other people that have gone through similar situations, you're more than welcome. But I'm going to end it here. Thank you guys for being here. All things serious. Out, friends.